different. So the shinai isn't directly straight. And why isn't the shinai directly straight? Because it's not balanced, right? We're not standing square. Our feet together, our shoulders the same, our hands the same. We're not standing square. We're standing with the right foot forward, the right hand forward, right? The left foot back, the left hand behind. So there's a little bit of an angle created by this stance, a small angle, but nevertheless an angle. So in order to compensate for this angle and the difficulty of the balance, we adjust by bringing the left hand off the center to the left a little bit. And this will make your grip on the shinai much better, your stance much better, and your overall balance much better. Okay? So the left hand's gonna be on the left side. And you know where the right hand is. And again, we want to hold the shinai on an angle, right? We don't want to hold it square. It's not the way to hold this. Then not using the tops of your hands, which is not correct. You hold it with the bottom fingers. All right, and this is how we hold the shinai from an angle. And yeah, these are relaxed. Now let's get back to the kamae. Okay, so now here we are. Now where do we put the tip? How high does the tip go? Some people say, oh, you pointed at his throat. Or people say, well, it's at throat height. I mean, but these things really are confusing and they really don't explain it very well. So this is how I was taught. This is how I do it. And it's worked very well for me. And this is why I'm here, because I want it to work for you. This is not about me. It's about you. But even more than that, let me just give you, again another little insight. Even more than that, it's not about me. It's more about you. But even being more about you, it's about Kendo. Okay? I work for Kendo. And it has to pass through me. So yes, I have to develop myself in order for me to open up Kendo and deliver it to other people. So my mind is always about Kendo. Yes, you have to improve yourself first. And then once you're on firm ground, then you can start helping others with experience and success. And again, the big picture is Kendo. And right now, I got to tell you, well, I'm doing a lot of talking. We're not getting very far, but it's important to get your mind right. It's very important to understand and get your mind right. And I'm conflicted these days with what I see going on in Kendo. I think Kendo is becoming, I had this conversation recently. Kendo is becoming woke Kendo. All right, this is my word, my term. What do I mean by woke Kendo? Oh yeah, modern Kendo. Okay, and I find it to be thinner, less depth, less high level, lower level than the classic Kendo that I like to refer to as what I learned when when I was in the Osaka Fuke, starting at 20 years old. It was the first time I was there. I was 20, and I've been there. I spent a lot of time there training. So getting the mind right is very important, and I'm doing it for Kendo because personally, I am not completely satisfied with the way I see Kendo going. Some of the things that are bothering me. Okay, I mean, I had to go through all the steps and wait all the times to make all my promotions, but now promotions are quicker and easier. Kendo has become quicker and easier. It's become easier. It's become more of a sport than the martial art or a do, which is the true reason why we do it, for self-improvement. But no, everybody just wants to do the Ken, and very little conversation, if any at all, is happening about the do. And it's about the do that will affect your Ken. It's your mind, it's your heart. So again, in my mind, I still adhere to the principles and practices that I worked up my way through. And like I said, it worked out very well for me. And I need to pass it on. This is not something that I want to hold, and take it with me when I die. No, it's my job to spread the good word of Kendo to you. So please take that in your heart, because it's very important to have the proper Kendo, the proper mind, in order to do the best Kendo and the best improvement of oneself that you can make. And don't be fooled. Doesn't mean the older Kendo is no longer valid. Opposite. I still believe it's more valid than the modern Kendo. Yes, I understand Kendo is expanding very rapidly. There aren't enough sensei to go around. And, a lot of people just haven't made it to the technical levels yet. I understand that. That's why I'm trying to help you with that. Okay. So, getting back to the Kamae. Don't go in front of the belly button, right? Most people, they have their left hands too low. Get it up there. Once your left hand goes low, it dies. It dies. You end up using your right hand. You can't use left hand from down here. So you end up using the right hand from the top. Wrong, bad. Keep it up here. And as a matter of fact, as I study this, even I always study. When I watch Kendo videos, I study these things. And the more great sensei, yes, their hand is at least in front of their belly button. Sometimes I even see it a little higher, right? So low isn't good. Keep your hands in play, in front of your belly button. It's a good place to start, and it's a good place to live. Okay, so get that right. Very important. Oh yeah, now the shinai tip. Where do we put the shinai tip? Some people say straight. Some people say, oh, you pointed at his left eye. Some people say, it's at the throat. And when you say it's at the throat, what does that mean? When you walk forward, it hits the throat, or if you extend the shinai, like a flashlight, shine on the throat. I mean, these nuances are not explained, and you have to try to figure it out on your own. Well, let me help you with that. Forget about those things I just said. How to hold your kamae so that when you walk forward, you will impale your opponent in the chest. That's how high the tip of your shinai should be. All right. Another way of looking at it is when you're first facing your opponent, you're going to see more or less a dot. You're not going to see the shinai. You're going to see the dot. Okay. It's also improper to show the bottom of your shinai when you're doing your kendo. Hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it strong. Don't jump. Don't. All right. We have to be strong here. Don't be unnerved so easily. Okay. So what do you do when somebody's pushing and pressing and attacking you? What's the answer? What's the answer? Does anybody want to hazard a guess?
Pressure back, sensei.
Pressure back. Not right, not quite. Somebody else?
Hold your kamae.
Anybody else? All right, let me tell you. First of all, if somebody's pressuring you and pushing you, what do? You get ready to perform a technique, a counter technique. Always be ready to do something. Never just sit back and rest or block or put yourself down to be vulnerable. Get ready for a counter. Get ready for he's coming man. You think he's going to come man? This guy always hits my man. So get ready for the kaishido or the degote or whatever, or even the ashura. Get ready. Get ready. But don't break your kamae. That's what they're trying to do to you. Don't let it happen. Hold your kamae and get ready to fight back. Okay? That's what it's all about. Also, these days, more and more, I see Mukaizuki. In the old days, yeah, the Hachigans would do it to me. but not much else. And I've had this conversation with my teacher, Arima Sensei, about Mukai Zuki. Because, one day I was at the Osaka Fuke, and one of those rare days where the Tokuren, the regulars, were out doing something else. But instead, they had the teachers' keiko that day from all the precincts from around and the Hombu dojo. They all came together and had a keiko among themselves. So I was very honored to be involved in that. Everybody was 8th Dan. And I don't know what I was at that time, 5, probably a 5th Dan. And I was fencing with one particular sensei whose kamae was very strong. And every time I tried to do something, he would just stick me. And I was having trouble getting through that. So after the practice, I asked Arima Sensei, what do I do with somebody who has a strong kamae and is doing Mukai Zuki on me all the time? Well, he said, hold your kamae, you press him, he's going to start pressing you back, and then you do a ojigaishi, and you come around and you hit him on the side of the head as hard as you can. And that will straighten him out. Oh, but wait, that's not nice, And another instance I had when I was practicing with the Ishizuka sensei, one of the Old Japan champions. And, and when I was practicing with him, he was holding his shinai down, and I was a hard time dealing with it. I didn't know how to get by it. And I asked Arima Sensei again, what do I do when somebody has that kind of a kamae? And he says to me, when somebody's opened up the shin like that, you hit him on the inside of the kote. Hit him on the inside of the kote and you hit him hard. And that will straighten him out. But I said, but Shizuka Sensei, he's my friend, I don't want to hurt him. He said, no. Inside the dojo, no friends. Your friends outside the dojo, not inside the dojo. This goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. It's not a social club. It's a dojo. Come there to work and sweat and fight and learn how to fight. So one thing to understand is, again, when you're in the dojo, it's a serious place. It's like a military training, because we are preparing ourselves for battle. So we have to take it seriously. Okay. Back to the kamae. Okay, so we're going to hold the shinai down at chest level. So when you walk forward, it's going to impale your opponent in the chest. This is the proper height of your shinai. So it's going to be lower, and it's going to have a very slight angle off to the side that will keep you in balance, give you more strength on your left side, because this is what we need to strike quickly and strongly. All right? So now we got the kamae down. And if you have any questions, start writing them down. I can circle back later and clarify any points that you might not understand fully. So there's your kamae. All right? And learn this kamae. Once again, this is your home. I call it home. You're always going to come back here. This is where you live. This is where you feel most comfortable, most protected. And you have all your devices all around you, all your techniques. Okay? So there. Are you ready to go? Now let's get into the suburi part. Suburi. Okay? Now from your good kamae, do we need to see the whole body? Just get so small. Really does feel like long distance. One of these days I'll have a remote, right? I think that's the next thing I need to develop. Okay, so here's our nice kamae, footwork, everything's in proper order. We're firm, we're relaxed, we're alert, and we're strong. And if everything is right, you can move in any direction, anytime, do anything you want, anytime. And that's where we want to be. We don't want to be tied down, locked up, backed up into a corner. We want to be free. We want to be open. We want to be able to do something at any time, something good at any time. All right, so now back to the suburi. Here we are. To do the suburi, I mean, even recently, I'm sorry I have to keep interrupting, but I have to clear away the clouds because I see there are a lot of clouds in Kendo these days. Recently, one of the teachers was saying that, okay, you know, this isn't big motion anymore. This is big motion. All right? Kind of like the Jodan position in Kendo no Kata. This is your big motion men. And all right, this is something new that I've heard recently in the past few years. And I asked the question, why? Why are they teaching it this way now? And, you know, I don't want to name names of the people who were involved, but the answer came back that, you know, I asked the sensei the same question, and he said, don't ask, just do. Well, to me, that's unacceptable. You got to have a reason for doing it. Just like in Kendo, there's a very important word called riai. All right, now I don't like to spend a lot of time and learning a lot of Japanese words because a lot of times people using them incorrectly. They want to learn so fast, but they don't understand the depth, the meaning of these words. So don't get too hung up on the words, but the word riai, you know, when you strike, you have to have riai, which means a reason, a good reason for executing that strike that way at that time. You know, it's not just wild and reckless and you just doing anything you can. No, it's a practiced situation and you know what you're doing and you're doing it with a specific purpose in mind. Okay, so this is riai. You have to hit with riai. So getting back to the suburi. So now, for me, as I've learned once entering the Osaka Fuge, that just bring the left hand over the top of your head, right? Just bring the left hand over the top of your head. This is big men. This is how I still do it. And this is how I will continue to do it. Unless you can show me something better with a good explanation, then I'll entertain the thought. But for now, no, I have no reason to change. I've been very successful doing with the way I do it. And I want you to be successful too. So, left hand over the top of the head. Okay? We don't have to touch our backs. I'm not saying I never do. I do it, you know, again, I'll do it as a warm-up exercise, you know, just to flex muscles, you know, like warm-up. But I don't do that normally. Not anymore. Okay? So over the head. And now we get into the striking position. I mean, how are we doing on time? I'm not watching the time. All right, we're an hour in. We're an hour, have another hour. But time flies when we're having fun. All right, so left hand over the top, step forward and strike down. And you strike out. You don't strike down, you strike out. Okay? The right arm, your shoulders are going to be down. Not going to have your shoulders up, not going to have your shoulders forward. You're going to be in your normal posture. All right? And boom. The right arm is going to be straight, almost straight. You're going to have a couple of degrees in the elbow bent. Again, we never lock our joints. You can have, call it 97% straight. All right? Level with your shoulders down. But here's the important part. The left hand goes in front of your solar plexus. This is a word that we use. They use it in Japan too, I believe. But other places, like in Greece, they had a different word. But the solar plexus, you know, where the ribs come up together and then there's that soft spot that hurts when you get punched there. That's the solar plexus. When you come down, that's where your left hand should be. And then with the wrist action, you cut down deeper. But this is very important. A lot of people, the hands are too low. Even the right hand is too low when they're doing their suburi and bent. Extend it out there. You're almost like throwing the shinai forward rather than muscling it down. You're launching it through the left hand and then your wrists have to be flexible. Okay? So when you strike, now how far down do we strike? Everybody right? Everybody knows this, right? We're striking, we're practicing men, so we hit where the men is, right? I was thinking about having a show and tell today. I do have a cucumber and a knife, but I'll say that for another time. But if you have your cucumber and the knife, right, or any target and a knife and a blade, and you bring the blade down, and let's say this is the height of the men, right? So we just lower it so we can get it on the screen. Here's the height of the men, and if you're practicing men, all right, you're stopping at the men. You're not cutting the men, right? So we have to cut a little deeper. Okay, well, how about if I cut down here? How about if I cut here? Well, no, that's not men either. When you're doing your suburi, you cut down to your own eye level. So people who say the ear or the eye, I mean, they used to say eye. Recently, I've heard ear. It's the same. It's the same difference. Okay, this is how far down you cut for your suburi, and be diligent about this. Where you strike the men and your striking position. It's very important to have this proper positioning for stability, for speed, for strength, and for technique. Okay, so men. All right, one motion up and down, smooth up and down, no stopping. No, stop there. You stop there. Stop there. You stop there. And you swing it hard. Again, this is kendo. It's swordsmanship. We're using the sword. And what are the swords used for? Cutting deeply. Okay, so we have to cut through. So it's not just moving, your hands up and down. No, it's boom, 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 men, and you do it severely, do it hard. So if Jocelyn Sensei is still there, oh, there you are. Do you want to take a minute or two so people can try this, or should I continue?
People may have it right. People may have it right for a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'll give everybody a minute or two to
Okay.
grab your shinai or your bokto. I have no qualms about practicing with the bokto. In fact, kind of like practicing with the bokto more than I do with the shinai, because it helps keep my grip properly. So anyway, why don't we try that over a couple times? I see a new face. His name is iPad.
Grivas Sensei, my name is Luis Santiago. I met you in 2002 at the Nationals. I competed there a long time ago. And a matter of fact, I was there when you won in '96. And I watched you compete with Ota Sensei, actually.
Ota Sensei, which Ota Sensei?
Admiral Ota Sensei. He was the honorary referee at the '96 Nationals. Do you remember?
96, where was that? The 96, was that the one in Cleveland? No, that was Fukumoto Sensei.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was the name that was in my head.
Yeah, no, it was Fukumoto Sensei. He was the president of the All Japan Kendo Federation.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
you remember? Did you tape that by any chance? I'm surprised nobody, here I was, the US champion, and I'm doing the demonstration match with the Hanshi Hachidan from Keisho, and nobody has a video of that. I would love to see that video because it was a fun performance, if you remember that.
I have the very same question in terms of all the scoring sheets or the brackets for the 2001 when I competed, because I made it into the last group of people, but I can't, no one has records, which is kind of odd.
Well, you know what? We should probably have this conversation privately.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from, Mr. Santiago?
Right now, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, Sensei.
Okay, are you with Jose?
I know
Guys, you may
Jose.
do your suburi, try your suburi. It's a time to try your suburi.
Like, just right down the road. And I know they're not very common
All
around
right, I don't
here.
know who's that in the back, but mute your mic. Anyway, Mr. Santiago, you can get my email address and we can talk about it. I'd love to talk to you about it.
Yes,
I'm
Sensei.
not ready to spill the beans in front of everybody at this time, but slowly I will.
Yes,
But,
Sensei.
I appreciate you joining. I appreciate your words. And yeah, it's an interesting thing.
It is.
Okay, getting back to the suburi.
We actually have one. Oh yeah, they're in that little shopping center on the way by here. I was like, oh, look at
Okay,
this.
somebody has to mute their microphone.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I hope some of you tried, some of the points I just explained in suburi for shomenuchi. Okay, it's just go men, okay? And then also very popular is the sayumen suburi, okay? And it comes up the same way, straight up, just like in shomen suburi. Then as you step forward, the left hand is going to stay in the center. This is important because I see people doing this all the time, even in kirikaeshi, even the higher ranks of today, not the higher ranks of yesterday, like me, the higher ranks of today, anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it. I'll put my foot in my mouth and get in trouble. But for our own good, it's very important to keep the left hand in the center. So when you do your sayumen, it's the same way, same big motion, left hand over the top. And when we're cutting on sayumen, how far down do we cut? To the center of the face, to the center of the face. And can't get the view just right, but that's where it should go, to the center of the face. The right arm is still going to be the same way, your left hand is still going to be in the center. And then very slightly, you're going to go side to side with your right hand. Only a small amount, because as you extend out, that amount gets larger. And all you need is a small amount. And when we're doing our sayumen and our kirikaeshi, it's very important to understand that it's a symmetrical, narrow V. It's not wide. It's not off symmetric. It's symmetrical. Men. Turn your wrists and snap it in there and cut the sayumen to the center of your face. Keep the left hand in the center. Don't let the left hand wander off the center. And kirikaeshi as well. Right? I see people doing kirikaeshi. No. Oh, he looks fast. He must be good. No. That's not good. Keep it proper, keep it correct, and you will be good. You will be strong. Not overnight. You have to do this years, decades, and you'll get better at it. Okay? And it's called sayumen. And doing kirikaeshi as well is sayumen, not yokomen, not anything else. Sayumen is the proper word. Okay? So I'll give you 30 seconds to pick up a shinai and study your sayumen to see if you got it down right. Again, keep the left hand in the center, the right hand goes slightly side to side. It's the narrow V, it's not a wide V, and it's the same angle on both sides. Okay. And again, the important part of swordsmanship is cutting with the sword. So when we move it, we must move it seriously. Okay, I'm just changing the view over here. I'm just looking, I'm glad to see other people are doing it. Okay. I'm moving around. No, Kapnidis is there. Nice to see you, Kapnidis. Thank you for joining. And Matada Sensei, thank you for joining. And Panos, another Panos. Let's see who else. Oh, Marco Polo Sensei. Yeah, I saw you earlier. Thank you for joining. Okay, so that's the Sayumen. Okay. Now, again, depends on how serious you want to be, how far you want to go, how much are you willing to sacrifice and suffer to acquire level? That's the big question. How much you get out of it is how much you put into it. So don't kid yourself. More is more, but it has to be done the right way. And when I was made the first time I made the US national team, that was back in '79, going to Sapporo World Tournament, the 4th World Tournament in Sapporo. And yes, Mr. Santiago, I was the first non-Japanese ever to be on the US team. And it stayed that way for a while. Anyway, and I was serious about it. And I had what they call a suburito, but it was a bokto, you know? And it's about the length of a shinai, but I had the heavy blade part. And it was a heavy bokto. So every day, I would do 1,000 suburi without stopping with that heavy bokto, with that suburito. 1,000 takes almost an hour, the better part of an hour. And at the end of that, you are dumping sweat. You are working hard. And I did it every day. And that's on top of a full-time job and practicing every night. So yeah, there's no limit. You are the only limit. It's up to you. And yeah, okay, you're doing 1,000 suburi. Well, you get awfully boring. So this might be an interesting thing for you to know. So when I was doing my 1,000 suburi, like I said, 1,000 times, do the same thing over and over again. Oh, it gets boring. Okay, all right, so I'll do some sayumen. Okay. And know what? Now I'll change the footwork. Now I'll mix up the footwork a little bit. Because again, I'll go men 2 times forward, 2 times back, and then I'll do that 100 times, and then I'll go 2 times to the right, and then 2 times to the left, and I can do the sayumen too, whatever you want to do. I'll do that for 100 times, again, just to break the monotony. And then 2 years in a row, I attended the Chuo University Natsu Gashuku, the summer training camp of Chuo University out of Tokyo, Japan. And the head teacher at that time was Tsumura Sensei, the older brother of the Tsumura Sensei from Canada. And he was very strong. Hachidan at a young age in those days is very remarkable. And he was the coach. And because we knew Tsumura Sensei from the East Coast, Toronto and New York were the only 2 dojos going way back when on the whole East Coast of the continent. And so once a year on Easter, they would come down and we'd have a goodwill tournament. And then Labor Day, we would go up to Toronto and have a tournament. And I met Tsumura Sensei, a very nice man, very nice family. And his family had a bogu shop in Wakayama, where I used to get all my bogu from. And I met the whole family. They've always been so nice to me, very nice people, very nice family. And I always send them my regards. My heart is always with them. So I went to this Gashuku, and I picked up another little thing that helps move along. And their kiai, they even have a little bit of a different kiai when they're doing their suburi, which makes it go a little bit faster, I gotta say. So, again, everybody else in the world, they pretty much do men, men. But in Chuo University, they would go, so I can remember it. I think they go, men, 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 men. Oh. I'm getting a little rusty. I haven't done it for decades. Men, 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 men. You know what? I'll have to get back to you on that. I can't remember. I had it just the other day, but I can't remember, so I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah. So that was how I would do my suburi. Just men, sayu men, and I would alter the footwork. And then, yeah, I would alter it even more. I mean, there are a lot of things you could do. You go forward, back. I am swinging the shinai. Cut my head off again. I tried that. All right, now you can't see my feet. One of these days, I'll get better at this. Okay. So, I go men, 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 right? Go forward, back. And then I go men, men, right, left, forward, back, right, left, forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back, and then you go right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, then you go forward, forward, back, back, right, right, left, left, forward, forward, back, back, right, right, left, left. Again, there's no limit to what you can do. Just do it with a reason, with an idea in mind. And again, just the basic footwork is all you need. I have seen in the past, and I know some dojos are probably still doing this. So, pardon me if I have a different idea, but they'll do suburi like this. All right, well, I don't do that. I don't teach that. They don't do it in the Osaka Fuke because we just don't use it. We just don't use that motion in Kendo. It's something that's fallen by the wayside. I see absolutely no benefit from it. And I don't think you should waste time in the dojo doing it because there are more important things to practice in the dojo. Remember, some of us, we only practice once a week, some of us twice, and those who are practicing a lot practice 3 times a week. Well, when I was in Japan, I practiced 3 times a day, okay? When I was in the United States, I'd practice 5 days a week, sometimes 6. If there was somebody who wanted to practice on a Saturday. And I could never get enough practice. I could never get enough practice. But 3 times a day was good. But again, this gives you a lot of time. If you're practicing like a professional policeman, twice a day, Monday through Friday, and once on Saturday. That's how it was back then. I think it's still the same. And they don't do this, even though they have a lot of time to practice a lot of things because they're doing this every day for years, for like 30 years till they retire or more, maybe even 40, 35 years. So anyways, and they do the same thing. They never do that suburi I just showed you because there's no real use for it in modern Kendo. Okay, so again, we have very limited time to practice, so we want to spend the time on what's important. That's what's going to help us and yield fruit, rather than something that well, we don't know why we do it, but we've always done it. So again, you have to make the decisions yourself. Okay, and then of course, finally, there is Hayauchi. Hayauchi, and and Hayauchi The important part of Hyochi is, of course, everything, but especially the footwork. Because let me get a little closer so you see the footwork. Because I see the footwork going bad all the time. Let me see if I can just hold it, right? So when you're doing your Hyochi, remember what I said, always keep your footwork basic and proper. So it's going to be forward, back, right foot, left foot, right foot. You have to touch all 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I see people when they're doing their Hyochi, it's one, it's more like a dance. It's not Hyochi. It's bad footwork. But this is what we're practicing with our Hyochi. It's good footwork at high speed. So it should be, and as fast as you can go. But in the dojo, you don't need to go as fast as you can go. Personally, you want to go fast enough, but not too fast that people are not being able to keep up. Some people can do it faster than others, but that's not the point. The point is to move quickly and accurately and not to leave people behind. When we're doing suburi in the dojo, it's very important. We all stay together. We all kiai. Men at the same time. Men. We all at the same time are making the kiai. All right? Not men. Everybody's, like popcorn. No. All at the same time. Everybody has to stay together. It's important that, number one, we don't slow down too much waiting for the beginners to catch up. And number two, the beginners have to apply themselves harder to catch up. Because tide and time waits for no man. And we have to use our time effectively. So the Hyochi, and then of course the striking is the same. I suppose you could do Sayu men, but I never have for Hyochi, just straight men. And yeah, that would be part of my Hyochi as well. I mean, that would be part of my 1000 suburi. Would be Hyochi as well. But as long as I did 1000 cuts nonstop with seriousness to cut through, that's what I was trying to do. Okay, so everybody take a moment, if you can, and you don't need a shinai for this, just to practice your footwork for Hyochi. And let me know how it's working out for you. Okay. Let's see. How's everybody doing? All right. Okay, I guess nobody's that interested. Okay, fine. Oh, there you go. Now, also, when we do our kendo, when we do our suburi, when we do our Hyochi, we have to keep our hips strong. We have to keep the hips strong and stable so that we move as a unit. And we can't be bending our hips. We can't be bending our heads. We have to always stay straight. Can't go. I mean, I can't even do it. But we always have to stay straight, always have to stay proper, in good form, with stability and strength. All right? Oh, and also, when you start your Hyochi, you start from this position. You don't start from here. Hajime. No, you start from here. Hyochi, Hajime. Ich, ni, san, shi. Oh, right? And then ju, niju, or goju, or however many times you do it. And on the last 10 is when you go through. If you're doing it 30 times, then on number 30 is when you finish up and go through. Not on 31. Okay? That's why we call it 30. Okay? So that's the Hyochi. Okay? Take it into your heart. And then also during this pandemic, yeah, I'm getting itchy. And okay, I developed another type of suburi that I like to do. and it's the kote men suburi. It works good for me because I like kote and I like kote men. All right, so first let's do kote suburi. Kote suburi. So when you do your kote uchi, the kote suburi is going to resemble what you could be doing in keiko and in shiai and in kihon and everything else. When you hit your kote and the suburi, it's suburi, it's an exercise. We don't normally hit kote big, but this is a suburi exercise, so we're going to make it big, and the target is going to be the kote. And boom, there's my kote. Now look, my belly button is down here. My left hand is higher than my belly button, and the tip of my shinai is lower than my hands. There's an angle, a downward angle, because you're striking with this part of the sword. And you want to get that part of the sword, boom, in there, and right, the monouchi, right? In Kendo, we strike with the monouchi. So you want to put your focus always, when you're on your kamae, put your heart here, put your focus here, put your strength here, not in your arms or in your body or no. You keep it on the tip of your sword. This is where your strength is, on your sword. Okay? You keep it down. And when you do your kote, kote. All right? Again, I love kote. I think it's a highly underutilized technique, excellent technique, as is kote men. I don't see nearly enough of it by anybody, but if you watch my matches, you will, because I use it all the time. I love kote men. I love kote men. Renzoku waza is the key to my success, and you know I'm trying to pass that on to you. So you're going to have to apply yourselves. Okay, so that's the kote uchi suburi. I'll give you 30 seconds to try it out. All right. Give you 30 seconds if you wish to try it. Let me just see who else is there. I'm just at this time I'm just scrolling, and I thought we'd have more people watching. Honestly, I thought we might have too many people, but I only see that there's 34 participants. Now I don't know if there are others that are hiding. I don't know how to find that out. Okay, so that's the kote uchi suburi. Again, kote uchi is very important. Get it right. Don't let the hands go low. As I said earlier, once your hands go low, the left hand dies, and your kendo suffers. So keep your left hand up there. Turn the wrists. Turn the wrists. All right. Also, when you're doing your regular suburi, you know, at the end of each suburi, you try to stop for a moment. You have to relax. You have to drop your tensions and relax. And that will give you speed and depth. All right. So when you'll see the tip of my shinai has a very distinctive boom boom, a bounce. And I noticed it when I was in Japan with Arima Sensei. You know, he always did it. It always happened this way. And now I understand why. Because it's with the grip. The grip. Some people, you know, it may be referred to as the tenouchi, which is okay. But let's not get too crazy about the words, all right? Tenouchi is okay. Tenouchi can be translated a few different ways. Like once it was, you know, said to me, tenouchi is what's concealed in your palm, all right? Or it's how you hold your shinai, or how you grip your shinai. It's the grip at the end of the swing can be called tenouchi. But it's a little bit different when you actually strike in kihon and in kendo. But for suburi's sake, this is the best we can do to improve our grip. Stop it. And, you know, I have very little efforts in my arms. They're relaxed. They know the position after doing it for so many years. How many years, you may ask? Try 54 years. That's how long I've been doing this game. 54 years. Okay, so boom, and it stops automatically. Boom, And there's your grip, all right? And Saimen the same way. Saimen the same way. Kote, same way. Because after the initial contact has been made in an attempt to score a point, there's nothing more you can do. It's over. That one moment is what you're searching for. So that's the moment you have to capture. So make sure you have a good strike with good positioning so you don't miss the point, because points are so hard to get that you don't want them to get away. So you want to capture the points as much as you can. Okay. And then the other thing that I started doing during the pandemic is do uchi suburi. Do uchi. Okay, because the do is also important, right? And it doesn't matter. You do it, mix it up. You can go forward and hit the proper do, and backward hit the gyaku do, or you can do it the other way, forward hitting gyaku do, backward hitting hiki do. Move it around, change it up. Get used to doing it always, every way. Okay? So again, left hand over the top of the head. Do, do, do. Left hand in the center. Right? You don't hit do like this. Some people do, but not us. All right? Left hand in the center. Do, do. Doesn't matter which side you go, or you change it up. So you can get it on either side. Okay? Do uchi suburi. Okay? Left hand always in the center. And again, your hands don't drop below your belly button. I have a question here to come up on the screen from Thanasi Stereo or the Q. All right, well, just one off. Okay, fine. All right. Something very important that I forgot to mention earlier about holding the shinai and gripping the shinai, and when we swing and make the cut, again, back to these two fingers. These two fingers never relax. They never take a break. They never go on vacation. Okay? When you raise your sword, you got to hold it firm here with the bottom two fingers. You don't relax and squeeze, relax and squeeze. I'm exaggerating, but a lot of people do this without realizing it. Okay? So now I'm pointing it out to you, to everybody. This is not a good practice. You hold your sword firmly at all times with the bottom two fingers. It's up here, it still holds firmly. You swing, it's still firm. The left never stops. The shinai always is held firmly with these two fingers and against the heel of your left hand. Now, why is this important? Because it will give your shinai more speed and more strength and more accuracy. And this is what connects your shinai to your body, not the right hand. It's these bottom two fingers going up through your arm, your left side, and into your body, and eventually down to your feet when you do your kikken taichi. That's going to give you the penetration that you need to make that point. So you always, always, always have to keep these fingers closed and tight and hold the shinai firmly. Never relax, never relax. Even when you come up, sometimes, all right, you just see the hole there, right? You can see how they relax their grip here, it's relaxed. No, you hold it firm, and then you could swing down with seriousness. And we must swing with seriousness, with the intention of making a point. Okay? All right, does everybody need a moment for that, to let that sink in? Okay, yep, very important. Keep the left hand high and keep those two fingers tight at all times. And use your wrists, use your wrists, use your wrists. Okay? Now, you ought to go, I don't know what you're doing. It looks like you're swinging too low. It looks like your hands are too low when you're swinging so hard. So keep your hands up higher. Amen. Again, you don't hit with your hands. You hit with the tip of the sword. This is where you want to put your concentration. All right. So when you're doing your practices, when you're doing your exercises, you have to follow the tip of your sword. This is the business end. This is what we have to learn how to use. And to get it into those tight places like kote, you know, we have to learn how to get this thing in there. All right. So we have to concentrate on this all the time. And that's why we have to keep our hand firm all the time, because it goes from here to here. All right. And don't worry about anything in between. Practice hitting at the right part of your sword with proper extension. So that means you don't have to stand as close. Get proper distance. And with proper distance, when you execute with the proper extension, you know, you don't have to struggle to make up a few inches. And if you do, if you're not making it, if you're short a few inches, how do you improve? How do you get over this? The answer is not by reaching further or stretching your shoulders further. No. Answer is in the feet. You adjust your distance with your feet, not with your hands. Okay? The hands have to strike in a certain way in order to be valid. All right? And then you adjust the distance by your footwork. So footwork is just so important. I cannot express it strongly enough that you can never practice footwork enough. Even back in California, getting ready for the World Tournament, doing 1,000 a day, practicing 5 nights a week. And after each hard practice, and I tell you, I always worked the hardest. My kiai was always the loudest, the longest. I sweated the most. I broke more shinai than anybody. And another thing I would do after my practice and my day was done, I'd work all day. I practice hard for 2 hours. And then everybody's, putting away their bogu. No, I spend another 15 minutes doing footwork up and down the dojo. Just basic ashi sabaki or ippon waza, nidanuchi, sandanuchi, godanuchi, renzoku waza. And yeah, like I said, I could never get enough. I could never get enough. And if you get crazy like I did, your kendo life will be better. Your kendo will be better. So anyway, so that's, again, a very important part, the 2 fingers. And then again, getting on, with the COVID problem and the lack of getting together and seeing each other and practicing, then I've developed another suguri on my own, which again, I like it. I can see the benefits of it. And it's kote men suguri. Kote men suguri. All right. So let me show you. All right. So I go kote men, kote, te, men, kote, te, men, te, men, kote. Okay. So if you're wondering why do I hit men twice in a row, is because, well, you tell me, what is the reason? Does anybody have an answer who didn't watch my first Zoom message for the Mexican Federation?
The distance from the opponent while you step back.
Right. All right. You're on the right track. Let me clarify it. That if somebody's in front of you, right, as I always teach in my Kihon classes, the kote is closer to you than the men, right? So you hit the kote because it's closer. Then you go out to the men. That's the men's distance. But now you're going to go back and look, you're still in the men's distance. So you hit the men again. Then as you retreat out, you hit the kote. Right? I hope that makes sense. Kote, men, kote. Right? You're not getting hung up in your mind, kote men. No. You are now opening your mind and understanding the zones of the targets, which is also a very important thing to understand. To understand the kote zone and the men zone. The men zone and then the kote zone. All right, that's why I do it that way. That's why I do it that way. And again, because I really like kote and I really like kote men and Renzo Kawaza, I do this. And another thing that I've developed on my own, I'm not sure if everybody should do this yet or not, unless your basics are well formed and well instilled according to the world of me. If your basics are good and your handwork is good, your hand positioning, you know where the hand positions go. And then I started doing this other type of suburi. Just one step forward and small kote men, kote men, and then the same thing going back. Men kote, kote men, men kote, kote men, men kote, kote men, men. Now look at my kote. Look, see, my hands are still high, my tips are still low. My form is correct. My form is good. All right. Now I gotta say, it's hard to hold it here. It's hard to hold it at the men. Right. That's why you go through those positions. Kote, men, right? And when you're actually striking, it's been taught two different ways. There are two different philosophies. One more or less from Osaka, one more or less from Tokyo. Kansai Kanto. In the old days, their differences were very clear. Nowadays, everything is becoming more uniform. But in Osaka, where we use much more, what do we want to call it? Flamboyant kendo, Renzoku Waza. They use their wrists differently, right? When they hit down, when they finish, the shinai comes up. Even kote, hit men, man. The shinai tip comes up, man. Because you're releasing the tension after the strike. You don't want to hold the tension. Now, I know I come across it a lot. People are still taught to do man. And yeah, that's old school from Tokyo. I don't see that happening very much anymore these days. I mean, you can look at all the All Japan Championship or any tournament you want, even the Hachidan Championship. You know, they'll always pound, you know, they'll always snap it because it's hard to hold in this position, because if you're holding your shinai right, your tendons are being flexed through the cut. And that's what's going to give you the snap. So you strike and release. For only the moment does the sword matter when it touches the target. It's only for a moment. And then release, relax. Nothing more you can do except waste your energy and become vulnerable by holding tightly to an idea. Okay, no, relax. Men, even after I strike my suburi, I'm totally relaxed. But when I hit my men, yeah, I'm gonna drive with that left hand. The shinai tip is gonna go high. I'm gonna be relaxed. I'm gonna conserve energy, and I'll be able to move quickly. Okay, well, again, time is moving. I didn't think time would go this fast, but I guess once I get on a roll.
You can this.
I know. I don't know. Can we extend it a couple of minutes so we can get the questions in?
Yeah, yes. We can. I think if you are okay, we can go with the questions. I have the questions. I may say the questions and then you answer.
Sure, that'll be fine.
Okay. So the first question is, is from Alkis. Could you elaborate more on the part about how to keep a strong kamae, mentally and physically? Which parts of our body should be relaxed, which should be more tense?
Okay. About holding your kamae, yeah. Where you have to be strong, you have to be strong in your heart. You cannot be easily shaken. You have to be strong like a mountain. Okay? You can't break so easily. From here, okay, from your kamae, you can do waza. You can do waza. But if you do this or this or this, I mean, again, here, if people are doing it right, if you know, you can't go around and do an Ojigaishi, but I never see it. I never see it. I see this as a wasted effort from both sides. From both sides, the person attacking, the person receiving. I think they both fail because nobody's scoring points. All right, I saw it one time. It was the first time I was in Greece for the championship. The final match, I won't mention names. The one player did this, and then the player gave him a tsuki. Beautiful. Beautiful. He's thinking, his eyes are working, his brain is working. He's fluid. He can change. He can see and adapt immediately. This is important to do, to understanding Kendo. So, to hold a strong kamae, you have to have your strength and your confidence in your heart. You gotta have nerves of steel, don't break, and prepare with a technique. Prepare. There are basic techniques to cover all situations, and there are, you know, relatively a few basic techniques that then can be expanded upon and altered. But the important thing is to be strong, don't give up, don't back up, hold your kamae, and get ready to execute a counter. Now, you got to look at your opponent, you got to size them up, and you have to anticipate. Where is he going to come? Is he going to come from my men? Is he going to come from my do? Is he going to come from my kote? What's he going to do? You have to try to anticipate, you know, and, you know, everybody kind of knows everybody anymore. And so it might not be that hard. And I'll tell you what I see, especially, well, in most places now, everybody just goes for the men, not nearly enough kote or kote man at all. So, you know, most of the time they'll probably be coming for your men. But keep your mind open, keep your eyes open. You know, in Kendo, they used to say, oh, the most important thing is your eyes. Okay? I think it was. Well, was it? I'll tell you the three most important things. I can't remember what order they go in. I don't know if the first one is the eyes, the second one is the heart, and the third one is the feet. Those are the three things that are the most important in Kendo. So stay calm, calm heart, confident, strong, don't break. And nowadays, you know, as I started saying earlier, I'm seeing more and more Mukai Zuki. Okay, what is Mukai Zuki? All right, well, the word is Mukai Zuki. Zuki is the word tsuki, which is thrust. But when you have a prefix, the S turns to a Z in Japanese grammar and becomes Zuki. Just like if you have a sushi-ya, you know, a sushi store, and then let's call it Kendo Zushi, right? If you put a word in front of the sushi, it becomes Z. And then Kendo Zushi, okay? Just for an example. So Mukai Zuki means when somebody's coming in, you basically just hold your kamae and stick him in the chest and nullify his attack. Well, I've had long conversations and deep conversations about this with my teacher, Arima sensei, who's great. I mean, anybody knows anything about Kendo will know him. So the question period has been cut off. Whoever's got their questions in, I'll address those. Okay. So he would say, never do Mukai Zuki. He's totally against it. And if you watch Arima Sensei's tournaments from young to old, he never, ever did a Mukai Zuki on anybody. Never does it. Because he taught me, it's better to do a technique than a Mukai Zuki. It's better to, if you could do a Mukai Zuki, you could do a technique. And, you know, after thinking about it, I realized, yeah, anybody can hold the shinai there, close their eyes, and do a Mukai Zuki. Anybody can do it. You don't have to be a Hachidan to do Mukai Zuki. But it's better to be able to do a technique. And that was Arima Sensei's advice to me and to others in the Osaka Fuke when they were attempting for their Hachidan. And, you know, you'd be surprised, you know, sometimes big names have to take it many times, you know, several times before they pass. And I remember one time, he was telling me that one of the other more famous people of Osaka Fuke had to take a Hachidan test more than once, more than twice. And Arima Sensei, being the senpai, not by much, but just by a little, was coaching him and helping him privately. And when they were practicing doing their keiko, the other guy, gave Arima Sensei a mukaizuki. And he told me he got so mad because that's just not the right thing to do. So again, nowadays I see it more. And I remember one time back in New York, I was talking with one of my friends. He was originally from Japan, about this mukaizuki, because he kept on doing mukaizuki. And I told him one day, I says, my teacher said not to do mukaizuki. Well, I didn't know. I didn't even talk about my teacher's theory. I talked about my own theory. My own theory of mukaizuki means to me that if you're willing to do a mukaizuki, that means you're willing to get hit. Right? But you'll thrust and you will get hit. It's a mutual death. Both parties die. Okay? So I kind of like want to come home after the fight. I don't want to die. So do a technique. Don't get mukaizuki'd. Do a technique. Or, and even people who want to do a mukaizuki, there are ways of getting around it. I told you earlier, the guy was holding a shinai, so you kind of ojigaishi and smack him across the side of the head. And let me clarify right now. Oh, that's not nice. Oh, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, just like in I see it a lot nowadays. Somebody will strike man and not make it and pass by, and the other person's following him, waiting for him to turn around, and then he strikes, and then the person blocks it, so he misses the point. Because the other person is taking too long to turn around, you're waiting too long to execute the strike. I said, don't wait. If they don't turn around, hit them in the back of the head. Well, not in the back of the head, but across, like a Sayumen from behind. So you don't have to hurt him. No reason to hurt him, but you can make the point. Oh, but that's bad sportsmanship to hit somebody from behind. And I said, you're right. It is bad sportsmanship. But Kendo's not a sport. Get it out of your mind. It's a martial art. It's a fighting art. So you're not going to let your opponent recover to strike him down. No, this is your opportunity to take advantage of his weakness, his failure. And you should take that opportunity with gusto. Now, these days, Kendo is changing. I just don't understand it. And I have to say, I'm against it. Because it hasn't been explained to me, but they're instituting rules that aren't in the rule book. So I don't know where these things are coming from. Even in Japan, when I was watching the Hachidan tournament, the final match against Nabayama and Eiga, they were in a Tsubazeriai, and as I started to step out, Nabayama hit the shinai out of Eiga's hands. But Nabayama got the Hansoku, not Eiga, who lost the shinai. I don't understand that. I wish somebody could explain that to me, because I don't get it. You drop your shinai, that's a foul. That's a foul if you lose your shinai. And yes, it is a technique to take the shinai out of a person's hands. So if somebody could explain that to me, I'll listen. I'm not going to jump the gun and say I'll agree. I'll say I'll listen, and I'll make up my own mind. But as I said earlier, Kendo is becoming woke. In Kendo, for example, in a Shiai, you could push one time, anytime, anywhere, one time. It doesn't always have to be after a strike. You could be in Tsubazeriai and then push him and strike him as he falls backwards. Why not? Why not? It's his fault that his feet aren't ready, his hips are weak, and he loses his balance and he can't deal with the push. That's his failure. That's part of Kendo, to have strong footwork, strong hips, and not be pushed around so easily, but it's still a technique. push and hit, but not push, 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 push. No, that's the foul. If you keep going and the judge doesn't say yame, where the judge should say yame, rather than jump to hansoku. You say yame, and the player will get the message. Does it a second time? Okay, then maybe you have a go-gi and give him a foul. But don't be so anxious to give out fouls, is my point. Drives me nuts. You know, and I have to say, and I apologize to the sensei who were here for visiting from Europe, but it's my opinion that there were way too many hansoku given in the European championships that I saw when I was there. Way more hansoku than I've seen in any 10 tournaments put together. It was off the charts.
Yes.
Stop giving hansoku.
But
If they step out of bounds legitimately, yes, fine. If they drop the shinai, yes, fine. Other than that, there's very few cases where they'll get a hansoku. Very few. So be sparingly. Remember, when we go to a tournament, judges, it's a sword fight, not a shimpan demonstration. Who knows the most rules? Who could pull the most rules out of the book and say, see? Oh, he touched the shinai on his shoulder. You see? Well, yeah, I think that line should be taken out of the book without question. Because all my life, you can look at it today. Look at the Hachidan Championship. Look at the All Japan. They still put the shinai on the shoulder. Never, ever is it called a hansoku. I saw it twice in my life in the not so distant past. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Don't do it. Nobody calls this a hansoku. It should be taken out of the rule book, period. Okay, sorry. Next question.
move to the next question. Next question is by Mr. Karipidis. Sayu men must be at the same height between the eyes, the same as men.
Well, when you're cutting down
When you do
Sayumen,
the Sayumen
when you're
Subbu,
cutting down Sayumen, it's going to be a narrow V. It's not a wide V. It's a narrow V, symmetrically on both sides, off center, down to the center of the face. Okay, not here, not side, not Sayu, not side men. And by the way, that's not called Yoko Men. Yoko Men is a one-handed technique. Okay, some people call it Ham Men. People make up terms. I learned it from the professionals, so I'm pretty confident in my terminology, even though it goes back many years. They keep changing the words, and I don't understand why. I think it's just a form of to confuse you, so I can stay on top. Forget it. Anyway, a narrow V down to the center, narrow V. Left hand in the center. Right hand slightly moves side to side. Okay,
Next
I hope that
question.
answered your question.
next question by Thanasis. Is the Ippon the main objective of our practice, and Kikentai no Ichi the way to achieve an Ippon?
Say that again, and can you, I don't know, can you make your speaker a little louder?
Is the Ippon the main objective of our practice, and Kikentai no Ichi is the way to achieve an Ippon?
Yes and yes. Yes and yes. Why are we practicing with swords? What is the purpose of practicing with swords if we're not looking for the ippon? All right. And in modern kendo, in modern swordsmanship, we call it ippon, a point. But in the real days, they would call it the kill. All right. And what are we going to use a sword for against somebody else who's trying to kill us if we're not trying to kill them back? All right. So let's be serious about it. Yes, we move the sword, and we shouldn't move the sword recklessly. We should move the sword in a very controlled and exercised manner, specifically looking for points, not to swing the sword mindlessly, aimlessly, without reason. There's got to be a reason and a purpose and a focus on what it is that we're trying to do. And Kikentaichi, yes, very important. This is one of the Japanese words that is very important to know. Kikentaichi, ki-ai, spirit, energy. Ken, the sword, right? Simply, ken, the sword. Tai is your body. And ichi, I-T-C-H-I, not ichi like number one, No, it's ichi, which means all together, all at once. It happens. And when I teach them a Kihon, yes, I teach that Kiken Taichi is what separates Kendo from violence. Right? You give somebody who knows, all right, that's not Kendo. That's not Kendo. Okay? Kiken Taichi is style, form, focus, execution. Hey, man! And Kiken Taichi is the essence of a Kendo point. It is the essence of a Kendo point. So you must have good Kiken Taichi. It has to have all come together. You can't have foot, hand, and then ki later too. No, it has to be all three energies converging on one moment, the moment of the touch. And that's where everything has to be there. The shinai, the Kiken Taichi, which is the fumikomi, the foot, and the ki. Man! At there, not man. No, I see that all too often. And we have to stop that. We have to get over it. That's not Kiken Taichi. That's not good Kendo. Men. And while we're on the subject, just let me clean it up a little bit more. That when you're doing Kendo and your Kiken Taichi and your Kihon or Shiai or Keiko, I strongly recommend to keep your ki simple. You going for the men? Man! Going for the kote? Kote! You know? But, and that's all you have to say. That's all you have to say. I don't believe in men. No, no. I think it's degrading to your Kendo. It should be clear and simple and to the point. Don't mess it up. So a simple, loud, clear, crisp ki at the right moment. It's all you need, nothing more. Let's not do more than we need, certainly not less. So I hope I answered that question. Next.
Next and last question is a question / request for more footwork exercises in the next Zoom session, which I guess would say yes. Yes.
Of course, it would be better to be done in a dojo so that we can couple the footwork with the Kihon. And I'm working on it over here, you know, to try to get a space. You know, like the first time I did it a couple weeks ago for the Federation de Kendo Federation de Kendo de Mexico. I had Julio here, who came from Mexico City, moved to the area, and we got together and we did the first Zoom class for the Mexican Kendo Federation together. So he was my helper. Now, if I could get this beautiful space available now there are also time requirements. So I don't know how well it's going to work, but it's a beautiful dojo. They use it for yoga and stuff. What a waste. A lot of yoga going on around here. But a beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful facility, great for holding a seminar. And okay, I have a friend that I just found out recently, he's one of the inside contacts. So I started talking to him about it. I mean, I could rent the space and it's not that much. I could afford that. You know, I forgot what it was cost. Like, was it like $15 an hour or $17 an hour? Something like that. But there are other classes that are already in there occupying slots of time. So I'm working on it and I'm going to see what we can do about that. And yes, there will be more footwork exercises because, again, I can't tell you how important the footwork is. It's the most important part. That's your foundation. Everything comes off of your footwork. Everything comes off of your footwork. Okay, one more?
No more questions.
No more questions, boy. I guess everybody really knows what they're doing over there if they don't have any
Or
questions.
they understood, or it has understood nothing. When you don't have question, 2 points. Either you have understand everything or you have understand nothing.
Right, that's
Anyway,
that's a good way of looking at it.
Everything was
So-
understood. Okay, Sensei, thank you
Okay,
very
I
much.
hope that is the case, or if they wrote down the notes so they can reflect on the notes. And again, if anybody who's watching has any questions, you can funnel it through somebody who knows me to get the email to me, and, I'll address them the best way I can. I'm here for you. I'm here to support Kendo the best I can. And, so please take advantage of it, and I'll do the best I can to respond to everybody.
Sensei,
Again, I don't know how many people ended up watching. I was under the impression that, of course, Greece and Mexico would have joined. I thought Venezuela was going to be there. I don't know. I thought Ecuador was going to join as well. I knew a few sensei from Europe were going to join in. And I don't know who else besides my ex-wife from the United States is watching. Oh, well, Jose Contreras is there. I hope he's watching. But I didn't see him.
Sensei,
But anyway,
on behalf of
um,
everybody, I would like to thank you for this very valuable knowledge that you pass in this limited time. We're looking forward to the next session, and we're looking forward to the time that we will be able again to cross swords and practice in the dojo. I would like to thank everybody for being present, not only the Greek people, but also the friends from Belgium, Maes Sensei and Jean-Claude Sensei, friends from Israel, from United States, Canada, Mexico. Thank you very much for your presence, and we're looking forward to the next session.
thank you all very much. So I will end the class here. Ready, Kyosuke? Ready? And that'll be the official end. And,
Domo arigato gozaimashita.
no, my pleasure. Thank you. If there's
Thank you very
anything
much,
else,
Sensei.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mark. See you later.
Thank you very much.
see you later.
See you.
And
you
I
very
guess,
much.
I'll be in contact with just
Bye.
like Sensei.
See you
Thank you,
later.
Sensei.
For
Thank
Bye.
you.
everybody,
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. Bye-bye.
Let me
everybody
see.
have a nice
Bye.
Sunday and nice
Stay,
week.
stay safe,
Bye.
everybody.
I mean,
Stay
I can't
safe.
see who's speaking.
We are
It's only
waiting
on-
for you soon in Greece.
Well, that didn't work. Like I said the last time, as soon as I could travel without having to take the vaccine, I'll be able to be there
As soon as possible.
as soon as possible. Actually, I don't even want to get swabbed.
And-
I don't even want to
and-
get swabbed.
And regards to Mrs. Grivas. Kind regards
Thank
to
you.
Mrs. Grivas. And
Thank
thank you
She's-
for,
She's no longer
uh,
Mrs. Grievous, but anyway, thank you.
No, she's,
So, anything else?
everything is fine. Have a nice evening for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You take care.
Bye, Sensei.
Take care.
And we'll be in touch. We'll see each other again soon.
Good night.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sensei.
Bye, Sensei. Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
Leaving meeting.